Mr. Mixmaster here, back with another video, and welcome back to the channel as always. Now I have a new headset, so hopefully maybe you guys can hear me a little bit better. But the previous video I did of my interest in hobbies and getting to know more about me, I think was a little slow for some people. I was kind of focusing a little bit more on the typing in all the admin commands, so hopefully this one I can clear up some stuff and add to that one. So if any of you guys want to hop in and ask any questions, feel free. I also want to thank you guys for the massive amount of views on my base locations videos, especially part one. You guys really seem to enjoy that one for 70 views. I'm guessing a lot of you guys like to use the island as your, I guess, definitive map. I guess more of you guys like to use the island than any other map. I don't know why, but hey, you do what you want to do. Anyway, so I'm just going to be doing some building here. I've mostly just been building around the Scorched Earth Dune ruin areas where there were some dossiers and some notes. I've just been kind of building on top of them. I always enjoy building on top of existing structures just to see what else I can do. So yeah, in this one I don't really have to think much, so I'll be able to focus a bit more on the subject at hand. So, I'm not sure, since I didn't really get any feedback really on any videos, I'm not sure if you guys have, understood every single thing I said. But, I went back and watched the first part of the video and kind of thought to myself, and that one I didn't really sound too clear. Not in the fact that you couldn't really hear me, I just felt that it wasn't, I didn't have enough detail on exactly what I was talking about. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but to me it seemed like it didn't. So I test the infinite ammo thing, it's always giving me issues. Okay, there we go. I think you just gotta press it twice. Once activates it off, and then the second one it turns it on, so now it should work just fine. But yeah, I'm just busy building over here near the Manticore Arena, so where else was I going? Okay, so in the previous video I was talking, I guess we'll get most of the other Transformers related stuff out of the way. I guess to reiterate again, if you guys didn't quite understand, the figure I was talking about in that video was Fans Project's Brainstorm, again, to remind you that it is a third-party Transformer. That was the one I was talking about that I couldn't recommend enough. You're probably going to hear some more videos coming eventually that probably will have me gushing about it. It's just a figure I really, really enjoy. It's, again, in my opinion, Fans Project's best release, favorite third-party figure, favorite Transformer in my collection, and favorite Transformer for me in general, period. So, kind of hope that makes sense. But, again, if anybody needs some clarification on something, just let me know. I'll talk to you about it. Just leave it down in the comments, whatever you want to do. So anyway, oh, and also just one other thing about the building in here. If you guys check off the no collision option, it makes building so much easier and so much more fun. So, just in case you guys didn't know that. Oops. But yeah, that was the figure I was talking about. So, I'll try to limit talking about that figure anymore, because, you know, after that info, you guys should be pretty good on understanding my thoughts about that figure. Like, okay, Dom, we already know how much you love it. You don't need to talk about it anymore. But, yeah, and as for Brainstorms go, I have all the Brainstorms except for Toy Worlds, which I am actually going to this year's TFCon, so if I do manage to find one, I'll probably get it, especially if it's brand new or at least in very good condition. So we'll see how that goes. I'll definitely give you guys an update on what I got from the con after I actually went. So we'll see how that goes. I'm definitely excited to go and see exactly what I'm going to get, because my thoughts now might be a little different from my thoughts later. Like, when I'm actually in the dealer room, it'll probably be a little bit different. I'll be like, oh my god, maybe I should get this, and before I didn't really maybe necessarily want it as bad. So it's always an option, but we'll see when that time comes. So let's see, I already went through all my favorite characters for the most part. Like I said, I don't really like any characters more than another. I love all characters. It's just the designs that do it for me. If it's a really cool design, I like it. You know, I don't mind that Wheelie's annoying, or some people may not like, you know, a certain character because they act weird or something. I don't mind. I love all Transformers characters equally. It's just the designs that are my kind of defining aspect. Also, especially when it comes to figures. So, there's that. Now, I got... Ooh, how am I going to do this one? Let's see. Wow, that actually worked a lot better than I thought it would. Some of these things are still a little restricted, but I usually find a way to make things work around here. Comes to building, that's not too far off. Could have did a better job, but oh well, I'll have to do for now. I'll fix that on my own time. I don't want to focus on one thing for too long in a video, otherwise it'll be a little boring. So, let's see, let me add some walls. What was the other thing I was going to say? I thought about it and I already forgot what I was going to say. It's part of the video, I guess, when my brain stops working again. Here we go with that. Alright, what was I going to say? What was I going to say? Oh, well, I guess we could go into my, favorite, I guess, some of my favorite figures, besides Brainstorm, if you guys are wondering. Let's see. If we're not counting Brainstorm as my absolute favorite, my next favorite would probably have to be Fans Project's Stunticons. Me along with Bobby Skullface, if you guys follow him, both of us really love the Stunticons. At first, mine used to be Birdkiss, but the more and more I kept thinking about it, I was like, you know what? As cool as Bruticus is, honestly, I think the Stunticons, for me, work a little bit better. I don't really know why, but they do. So, there's that. Um, Again, most of my third-party figures I do have are from Fans Project. That's not just because I love Chug so much, it's just they make a lot of good figures, so. And I would probably say, like, my top 3 Fans Project would be between Brainstorm and, low-key, the other Headmasters. The Stunticons, and then third place for Fans Project would probably have to be their, I guess Insecticons. Probably. I only really love Kickback the most with Bombshell in second place because Shrapnel, I know he was their first release, but it's I don't know. I think they could have did a better job with that one. Actually, I'm gonna fix this. But yeah, I think they could have did a better job with that one, and they definitely did fix it with Bombshell and Kickback. It's just I don't like Shrapnel as much. So, I guess if that clarifies anything. Fans Project definitely is my favorite third-party company, though. I think between them, Make Toys, and Unique Toys are probably my top 3 favorite. Again, about half, or more than half of the reason is because of Chug, but they do make some really good figures. If you guys haven't checked out anything from any of those 3 companies, you are missing out. I will say that. I will say you are missing out quite a bit. But then again, it does depend on what kind of figures you like. If you're not really into Chug, you like more Masterpiece stuff, well then you're probably going to want to go with Fans Toys, so. The only things I have from Fans Toys is the first 2 Insecticons. I cannot find Kickback, so hopefully, because I've looked pretty much on every single Transformers-related website, ones that I know of and bought from, and others that I know of but haven't bought from, and all of them are sold out. I was talking to Bobby about it. He said maybe try one of the Facebook groups, but if that doesn't work out, which I probably don't even really want to try it anyway, I will definitely be looking around the con for that figure. Because if I can get a hold of Kickback, I'll have a full set of Insecticons. The only real full set of Insecticons I actually have are the Legends from Combiner Wars / Titans Return. Because, well, actually, they're from, I think, I want to say 3 different lines now. I think Shrapnel was with, just, early Combiner Wars kind of universe, and then Bombshell was Combiner Wars, and now Kickback is Titans Return. But I have the full set of Legends ones, and again, I only have Fans Project's Kickback. But they really blew me out of the water once I got a hold of the Fans Toys ones. The videos, they do a good job, but it's not until you get certain figures in hand that you really find that they're, super amazing. I was not expecting these guys to be as heavy as they were, but these guys are extremely heavy. They're at least a solid pound or 2 a piece. So, I thought that was pretty cool. Definitely highly recommend them. I did hear that Kickback might have a problem to where the kind of joint arm assemblies that the robot arm and insect legs are on are a little too thin, and I've heard some people's broke. Hopefully that's not the case if I do find one, but I guess we'll see when the time comes, right? and hopefully that's not the case, but again, we'll see. Oops. So, but yeah, there's that. What else? I do have Make Toys' Technobots. They're probably ultimately my third favorite combiner I have. I don't really have that many combiners, but from the ones I do have, I really did fall in love with the Make Toys ones. I thought they were really neat. Some people may prefer the the Warbitron version. I do have the Warbitron Bruticus. I just don't have the Technobots. But I even, funny enough, I actually even showed my dad, and he even thought that the Make Toys ones looked better. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, the Warbitron ones are probably more accurate, but they're not. In my opinion, they just don't look as good. And I think the combined mode even looks better for the Make Toys. But again, that's just my opinion. I mean, yeah, technically this whole video is based on my opinion, but hey, let me know what you guys think about it. What else? I definitely do really want to get the Generation Toys Devastator or Gravity Builder. I'm not in too much of a rush to get it, but I do really want to get it. I don't know. It's so expensive. I mean, compared to other figures I've gotten. I mean, I'm going in on the Transformissions IDW Masterpiece Menasor. I already have the first three, and Motor Master is going to be here within the next few days because I already ordered him. Which, if you think about that, that's already $600 because that, each of the four limbs are 100 and Motor Master's 200, so that's 600. So, ironically, a lot of these combiners are between $500 and $600. Yeah, they're, in my opinion, most of them are worth it, but I don't know. It's just for me. It mostly has to do with room, not so much for money. Yeah, money at the moment, but ultimately, I will have enough money in general for whatever I want. It's just I gotta spend it on what I need, and I gotta have the room for it. If it's not a figure I really need and really love, and all that good stuff, then it's not going to be a figure that's going to be in my collection. That's just that simple. So hopefully that makes enough sense there. But let's see what else. I'm trying to think. What was the other one I wanted to mention? There are a couple companies I don't have anything from, or only like one or two things from. Mastermind Creations is a very good company. I've got to admit, with a lot of other people, not every single figure they've made I was too fond of, but they do make a pretty good product. I have 3 things from them now. I have the Classics 6-shot that they made, which at first for me looked like it was more of an IDW 6-shot, but it's actually more of a Chug 6-shot than anything else. He wasn't really shown that much in the comics, and when he was, it was more of a G1 design anyway. But so there's that. And then I got the Lockdown, or the Jaegertron, which, in my opinion, has to be the worst third-party figure that I own, and probably the worst figure that Mastermind Creations has made. Mostly because of its tolerances are really bad. In his alt mode, nothing wants to stay tabbed in. Everything wants to keep popping back out of its place, making the alt mode pretty much useless to display in unless you can get some tape or something, or fiddle with it for long enough to make everything stay together, which shouldn't be the case ever. Especially from them, they have a pretty good reputation anyway, so, why would that even be an issue? But, whatever. I mean, sometimes companies do have their flaws. Do I think the other two molds after it were any better? I heard that the Cyclonus one was better toleranced out of the three, but I don't really recommend any of the three. It kind of works out better if you have the Mastermind Creations Predaking, or Predacons, because he does come with the alternate faceplates that you can actually swap out in his display case. He has his own display case. But that's another combiner I would really like to own, but I never got the chance to get it. But then again, I don't think it's that worthwhile of a figure, especially for 110 bucks. You're not even getting that much for 110 bucks. It's one of the simplest Transformers, especially from a third-party company, that I've seen. It's very, very simple transformation, and I don't think it's worth the money. You guys may have a different opinion on that, but me personally, I don't think it's worth it. And technically, none of the versions of it either are worth it. I mean, if you really want the Cyclonus, then maybe I can see that being okay. It kind of also does look a bit better than the other three, or the other two, I should say, but ultimately, I can't recommend it because it just doesn't hold up quality-wise to, other figures and, their standards. It's the only real figure where I feel that they completely flopped on. Again, my opinion, but... And then recently, I just got their Calidus, or their IDW Rodimus. Here's the thing with me and Hot Rod. If it fully transforms into the more Winnebago mode, it is Rodimus Prime. When it has a Matrix, it is Rodimus Prime. If it's the Energon Rodimus Prime, or Rodimus, then it's just Rodimus. I don't think the IDW one should be called Rodimus. I think it should still be called Hot Rod, because, in my opinion, any version of Hot Rod that just turns into a car should be Hot Rod. Again, that's just my opinion, but I think it's a pretty valid point. At least I think it is. Let me know what you guys think about that, but ultimately I think any version of Hot Rod that turns into a car should be called Hot Rod, not Rodimus. So I just call it Mastermind Creations Hot Rod. But it is definitely on my top 5 third-party figure lists and top 5 Transformers lists. I just really love it. It really turned out better than I thought it would. Like, when I first started seeing pictures of it, I was like, ooh, that looks really, really good. And then I got it in hand, and I was just like, man, this thing is awesome. 2 things I will say about it that are, I guess, a little bit negative, but that's only due to it because, nothing's really technically perfect. The shoulder, either the shoulder pauldrons are too big or the back wings are in the way for certain poses, but the back wings do come off. They are completely removable. Like Emgo said, I do wish that they came off a lot harder, meaning you would take a lot more effort to take them off. They don't. If you turn the figure sideways, they don't just fall out, but it doesn't take much force to pull them out. I wish they could have stayed in better, or at least be solid. I kind of wish they weren't removable, but I think the main reason why they're removable is because how the whole backpack was built. I don't really think they could have made it a solid piece without it having a tendency to break or having the chance to break. And on top of that, the only real thing you gotta worry about quality-wise, or not quality, I guess tolerance, is just be careful with the bow and the tips of his exhaust pipes. I've seen one guy I follow on Instagram. Just recently got his, and his I think broke off, and he's just keeping it at the shorter, flatter exhaust pipe arm blasters. I don't exactly know how they broke, but they did break. And I didn't actually know originally that they were removable. They're supposed to like represent him taking off the tips of his exhaust pipes and putting them onto the front of his compound bow to be projectiles. But I see the compound bow, the tips, the tips of it. Be careful with that because they are very thin plastic, so you don't want to snap them off. It's not like everybody's going to be displaying him with the bow. It's just I like the bow, and I'm displaying mine in alt mode because it's a really unique looking alt mode, and most of my figures are displayed in alt mode. But I like the alt mode better with the bow than without the bow. Believe it or not. I think it really finishes off the look of the car mode than not having it. If he didn't have it at all, then it would probably be a different story. But I would also probably think it, I'd be like, maybe the car is missing something. I'm pretty sure I would probably have that feel. But I do prefer with or attached to the car than not attached. If I was going to display him in robot mode, I would just have it, in my accessory drawer, along with the gun. The gun is very G1 accurate. His original gun that he came with as a toy and in the show, but I don't know. I don't think it really fits well. I think for me, especially with Hot Rod in general, I really like Hot Rod just using his exhaust pipe blasters on his arms as weapons rather than him just holding a gun. I do like the bow, that's really cool, but as a projectile or firearm, I like his exhaust pipe arm blasters best rather than a rifle or a pistol. But it's nice that they do give you the option to have it and display them with it. Obviously, sticking a gun on the top of the roof of a car, I never liked. But that one does make a little bit more sense because it is a little bit more of like an armored car, and it's more Cybertronian, so you can take a little bit more lenience with that one. But ultimately, I prefer the car mode with just the crossbow as the front bumper. That's not gonna work. So let's just do whoopsies. Let's just do that. But yeah, So those are the only three figures I got from MMC. I do like their Overlord. It's cool. I just was never a really big fan of Overlord or his design, but I will admit it's a pretty good figure. It's probably the best Overlord we're gonna get so far, but you know, there always is the Titans Return option, which I don't know. I'm not really digging what Hasbro's doing anymore. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard the argument of third party is doing a better job at Transformers than what Hasbro's doing, but ultimately, you know, it is true. Believe it or not, it is true. For the most part. Totally forgot to disable notifications. That's great. Anyway. Foundations. A small topic I wanted to bring up, just, you know, for you guys to think about. Because I know some people are Hasbro purists or just third-party purists, but you gotta have to kind of see it from both sides. Let's be honest. Who came out with certain characters before another? Especially with the Headmasters. Titans Return just recently came out last year. How long has the Fans Project's Headmasters been out? 3 to 3.5 years. The Fans Project was ahead of Hasbro for the Headmasters for at least 2 years. At least in the release. And they were probably thinking about it a year or two even before that. So it was about mid to late 2013 is when we started getting the Headmasters from Fans Project. So let's think about that. And again, third-party companies give us figures that Hasbro doesn't. There are still some characters and some figures that Hasbro hasn't made that third-party companies have. You know, who gave us, what, 5, 6 different Devastators to choose from? And Hasbro only has one? You know? Same thing with the Dinobots. I mean, the different Devastators and Dinobots from on the third-party market are crazy. That there's that many different ones to choose from. And again, you know, not everybody likes the same thing, so it's a good time to be a collector because we have so many options to choose from. You know, you just can't please everybody. But, you know, that's why they do make so many different versions of each character in a figure form because, you know, not everybody likes the same thing. So this way, not everybody can have the same collection. You know, everybody's collection can be a little bit more unique. That could have been a little less crooked, but oh well. You know, hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying here. I'm not necessarily trying to say that one is definitively better than the other, but I've got to give the third-party companies credit for what they are doing. I've got to give them credit for what they are doing. And personally, in my opinion, I like the third-party companies better than Hasbro. Now, yeah, we can get into the whole argument of, you know, all the one-step changers and all the cheesy Transformers that Hasbro has been doing. But I don't really want to get into that. Because I know some people just naturally get hurt and offended, and it is 2017, so everybody gets offended from something. It's funny, I seen a picture on Facebook. It was like, finally, a post where nobody gets offended by anything. It was a blank white screen, and somebody's like, oh, why does it gotta be white? I was like, oh boy, you just had to ruin it, didn't you? So, oops, there we go. But there's always going to be some Transformer fanboy out there who's like, oh, Hasbro's the best, or whatever, and stuff. There is another thing on that similar subject that I wanted to talk about, and it's because some people, it's confused some people, and it's made some people think the wrong way about third-party stuff, and that would be the fact that everybody, or a lot of people that don't know much about the third-party Transformers or don't really like them that much think that they're knockoffs, and they're not. Because now I'll try to link my buddy Bobby Skullface's video in the description. He did a fantastic job of explaining that whole issue, probably a little bit better than I can. But the basic general gist you guys gotta understand is a knockoff is stealing the mold and selling it for yourself. Like, I'm gonna sneak into Hasbro's headquarters, steal the MP10 mold, just copy it over at my factory, and then sell it under my name. That's a knockoff. It's just stealing the mold, or just stealing the product and reselling it. That's not what these third-party companies are doing, people. The third-party companies are making all of these hundreds of molds by scratch, their own designs, their own versions of our favorite Transformers characters, their own designs, and their own sizes. If any of you guys are familiar enough with third-party figures like I am, there actually is, I want to say, I think 2 prime examples of knockoffs, but it's only been like just basically those 2 examples, and that was it. And that was a company called iGear, which doesn't make anything anymore. Probably for the whole reason that they did make the knockoffs, but also probably because they ran out of ideas and stuff. I don't know what the deal was, but I didn't really like them in the first place anyway. I like their Scout-sized mini-bots that they made, but that was about it. I never got any, but I thought they were pretty cool. Anyways, long story short, the MP Seekers, the original MP Seekers, not the newer mold where it fixed a lot of the issues, where the side skirts are now attached to the shins instead of being side skirts. They released the original MP Seeker molds without the Decepticon insignias, and in these different colors, kind of like the Rainmaker color schemes, and sold them like that. They were nothing different from the original. They had literally nothing different from the original mold. I was like, wow, really? You're really gonna do that, huh? You're really gonna do that? I was like, well, I can fully 100% agree with people that say that's a knockoff, because it is. That's a knockoff. But the new, like, Make Toys, Masterpiece, Starscream that's coming out, their Meteor, that's their own mold. It may be kind of inspired by the original Hasbro mold, but it's their own mold. The other one is actually a knockoff of a third-party one, and I'll get to that here also in a second. It's kind of turned into a little bit more of a discussion. I intend to do a new series on my channel called TF Talk, where I kind of talk about a lot more relevant Transformers-related topics. But anyway, we'll get to that when we get there. But, what was it? The Fans Toys Quake Wave, their masterpiece Shockwave. Another company called Cloud9 released a Quake Blast, and it was basically the same mold with a few minor differences, a few pieces that were slightly different shape and design, and resold it. And it was, I think it was about the same price. Now, although some people will agree that it is a knockoff, and it pretty much is, it's still a pretty good figure because it still has pretty much the same quality. It's just a darker purple, and some people kind of prefer its proportions a bit better. It had slightly more kind of anime proportions, where it's like smaller bicep and bigger forearm, smaller thighs and a bigger shin, and a tapered body with a bigger upper chest. That's kind of an anime proportion for like a robot. So, I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool, but it definitely is a knockoff. So, there's that. But, now getting into the other part of that, which I said I would get into, is there are actually knockoffs of third-party figures. So, I don't know if there's a technical term for a double knockoff, but this isn't the case because, like I said, third-party figures are their own molds. They're not knockoffs of Hasbro. Now, you can definitely argue they're knocking off the idea. Yeah, they're still taking Transformers, but they are making their own stuff. So you got to give them credit at least for that. And let's be honest, they call them different names and don't give them Autobot and Decepticon symbols because of copyright. Well, guess what? You go to Repro Labels, you get yourself a couple stacks of Autobot and Decepticon symbols, sheets, slap them on the figure, and call them by their original name and leave it alone. We got Masterpiece, or Make Toys' Masterpiece Megatron that I have, which is called their Despotron. Okay, slap a Decepticon symbol on his chest and call him Megatron. That's all you gotta do. Doesn't matter what they call him, they just have to do that because they don't own the copyright to it. So it doesn't mean you have to go along with it. Now, for a video review or something, you may have to put that in there because, you just want to make sure you do the right thing, but ultimately, just call them by what their original character name and put a symbol on them, and that's all you got to do. What else? Yeah, there are actually plenty of third-party figures from different companies that have knockoffs. Like straight-up Chinese knockoff. The first real one I've seen was, I think it was Perfect Effects Reflector, which I have. I love it. It's one of the best third-party figures, in my opinion, because it's very underwhelming how big the box is until you open it. It's literally like a 5-inch box, but as soon as you open it, it's like, holy hell, this thing comes with so many accessories, like, it's just absolutely insane. But there was a knockoff of them, and I think you can find them all on Kapow Toys and stuff like that, where it's a whole bunch of KOs for Transformers, and there are like 3 or 4 different versions of that design, upscaled, hollowed out, and these wacky pastel neon colors. Then I seen a oversized, and I do believe it was an undersized Mastermind Creation 6-shot, especially the black version. A couple of people have actually reviewed it. It's not really that bad. Some knockoffs are pretty good. I'm not trying to promote knockoffs, but some of them are pretty decent. I'd only recommend certain ones if money is a real big issue for you, or you're not too much of a fan to the point where you like hardcore. You know, like a hardcore Transformers fan would get the regular. A non-hardcore would probably get the knockoff because it's good enough. I can understand that, but again, not trying to promote knockoffs. Although, again, arguably some of them could technically be better than the originals, but that's a very, very low minority, in a very rare case, believe it or not. And it also depends on your opinion. Like Masterpiece Tracks, the knockoff of that actually has separate rims and rubber tires. And some of you guys may argue that the knockoff Masterpiece Tracks is better than the original because it has real rubber tires. And I can see that being a valid argument. Because with most of these newer knockoffs, they're pretty much the same quality. But then again, for me personally, like I said, I don't really care what company makes Transformers as long as it's a good figure. Design, quality, all that good stuff, I don't mind. At this point in my life, I'm just like, I don't care who makes it. As long as it's a good figure, I'm probably going to buy it. So, there's that. I probably want to do something with this. Alright. So, that's a couple of examples. The Fans Project Stunticons. I've seen, what was it? Oversized, hollowed out versions of them that were kind of a different reshell, but were still a knockoff. So, there was that too. But you know, at this day and age, nothing really surprises me anymore, especially with knockoffs, because you know it's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen. It's just when. And the thing is, I gotta agree with Bobby too, is that he said that the knockoffs are getting a lot more. They're getting out a lot faster, meaning like as soon as the official figure releases, like the knockoffs like directly right behind it. It's like the same week or the same month that it comes out. It's like the knockoff is like right behind it. It's crazy how some of these knockoffs are. It really is. It really is pretty crazy when you think about it. Okay, you gotta get rid of that one. So, but yeah, there's that. Not that way, damn it. It's not what I wanted to do. Oop. Actually seen it. Where'd it go? Right there. That's... Damn, you're perfect. Yep, we'll do it just like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's crazy. The knockoffs are just, and the thing is too. So you guys gotta understand is some people are getting confused, thinking that some of these knockoffs are the real thing because of how close they are. Like the Takasa Tomies are the knockoffs of the official masterpieces, right? Some people are thinking that those are the official and saying bad stuff about them. I'm like, well, that's not right because that's not the official stuff. It's knockoffs, but I can't fault them because they wouldn't know the difference. I mean, true Transformers fans probably would know the difference, but these people don't. Or just some people don't. That's fine. That's not their fault. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's even with other knockoffs, it's pretty hard to tell the difference. Like the transforming Optimus Prime pen that came out, I have the Nemesis Prime version, and the knockoff is so damn close that you would barely be able to tell. I mean, if you had the knockoff in hand, you would probably think it's the original, because even the box is that close. Now, I've seen a comparison video between the two, so I can see what the differences were. The box is a little, you can kind of tell it's kind of been copied. The logo, the sticker for Takara Tomy is in a different spot. And if you didn't know that originally, you would think it's the original. And with the figure, pretty much the only difference I think I found with the figure was, I want to say it was the hinge on the back of the chest to open up. The chest flips open. I think that's looser, and it actually tends to pop off easier. Other than that, you can't tell because knockoffs have officially stamped Autobot and Decepticon symbols on them. Now, obviously, if they didn't have that on there, then you would obviously tell it's a knockoff. But, you know, a knockoff is a copy and paste, whereas a third-party figure respects the copyrights. Knockoffs don't give a damn. They're like, we're copying you, you know, tick for tack, and, you know, we're going to try to make some money off of it. Some people kind of prefer the knockoff Warbitron Bruticus set because it's bigger, it's more of a masterpiece scale, I will admit, and the joints are probably better, I think, because I think all the joints are ratchets. On everything, everything's a ratchet joint. Or most of the things are ratchet joints, so, you know, I guess it does depend. I mean, for your own personal collection, if you're only buying a few knockoffs here and there, only a couple people buying knockoffs here and there, I think it's okay. It's ultimately okay. For the most part. As long as you don't get it confused and, you know, you don't, you know, really support them that much, I guess. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't really know how else I can word that. What else? Planet X is, you know, is focusing on the video game designs. I only have their Starscream. I intend to get the Skywarp and Thundercracker at some point. I know they made Perceptor and Optimus Prime, and they have made the Dinobots, but I don't really intend on getting all of them. But if they do make, like, Sideswipe, Jazz, especially Air Raid's my favorite. But yeah, Air Raid, you know, Silverbolt, Jetfire, Jazz, Sideswipe. Surprised they haven't made a Bumblebee yet. They are making their Megatron. Those characters I will definitely get. You know, Iron Factory is completely focusing on Legend size. I don't have anything from Iron Factory, but I might pick up their Legend 6-shot. Maybe at the con, if I have a little bit of extra money, I'll pick that up. It's only like, I think it's only like 30 or 40 bucks. So it's relatively cheap. And it does transform in all 6 modes, so I can't complain there. It's a pretty good pocket-sized 6-shot. What else? KFC Toys or Keith. I only have the Chug Cyclonus that he made, Tempest. I would still highly recommend it if you're a big Chug collector like I am. That's a really good Chug Cyclonus. It's probably the only other Chug Cyclonus you can get besides the original Classics one, which I still wouldn't recommend you get rid of, but I would say if you want to replace it, that's a good replacement. So, there's that. What else? I have, oh shoot. I have to figure out what I want to do with that. I think we'll come back to this build later. Or on my own time, I'll try to figure it out. Anyway, what else? I'm trying to think. Damn, I'm looking around my room seeing what other figures I have. Oh, just recently with the Mastermind Creations Hot Rod I got was the Make Toys Cross Dimension Nemesis Prime or Striker Noir. Comes with, it's pretty much just $10 more than the Optimus Prime version because it comes with all the a few sprues of extra weapons. There's a dossier here I didn't get. Or note, sorry, Rockwell note. Excuse me, my nose is a little stuffy. Pretty good figure. I've seen some people that I follow on Instagram post some pictures of and say they're pretty good. It's a really good figure. I agree. I definitely agree. It's a really cool figure. The thing is, it's probably your best bet for a really good updated Chug Nemesis Prime, Optimus Prime, and Megatron for their Cross Dimension series. They are about, what, 7-ish, 7.5 inches big, but I think they still work for a Chug size, especially when most of the other Chug figures are about 5.5 to 6 inches. I think it makes sense for those to be that big. If they were any bigger, I'd say it'd be pretty much Masterpiece. I actually haven't seen a comparison video between that and the MP10 mold. I know they're not too far from size, but this one fits better with Chug. I can't really think of any other good Chug, Optimus, and Megatron that would fit as well as these two do. I'm not exactly sure if they are supposed to be based on a current design or not. I don't think they are. But hey. No, whatever. I still like them. A lot of other people still like them. Whatever. I'm gonna try to pick up the other two at the con when I go. I do kind of like the Megatron design that they did. The only real two things I don't quite like, it's only more of a nitpick than anything else, is the chest. The chest just opens up on a hinge, and it kind of does clean up a little bit better on the back of the gun, but you can still tell it's a chest folded down, so it could have been a little bit cleaner. But other than that, I'm not really sure I prefer the double barrel gun mode as much as a single barrel gun. If it was a single barrel gun, it'd probably be better. I don't know if you can make it a single barrel, but ultimately I do really like it. It is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And I would say I do recommend it, although I don't have it. I would say I do recommend it, because ultimately I am going to get it. Because I don't really have a good Chug, Optimus, or Megatron yet. So, but we'll see. Again, pretty sure I'll get them at the con, but we'll see. Another one I was thinking about getting, but now I'm not quite sure yet, is the KFC Toys Masterpiece 8-Face. It's not really the color that's throwing me off of being silver instead of white. It's more the fact of just, I don't really know if it's worth it enough Fans Project was supposed to be making an 8-face, but I don't know what happened to that. So, ultimately, this would be the 8-face that everybody gets. I've heard some good things about it. I've seen some bad things. I mean, the only real bad things about the figure that I've seen is the fact that the fingers can break off kind of easily, especially when folding them up into the arms to transform into jet mode. And actually, I guess 8 mode, so anything other than robot mode. And it is pretty pricey for what they're asking for. It's $150. I know it's a masterpiece. It's pretty big. It's got cool LEDs. When you open up the cockpit, it's got this switch that automatically flicks open. But and you can manually turn it off too if you want. But I don't know. I was like, yeah, I want to get this at first, but then I started thinking about it more recently within the past few weeks, and I was like, you know what? It may not ultimately be worth getting. So, but, again, it depends. I may have a different thought at the con. It's not that I'm going to say that I'm just going to buy it just to waste my money or anything, obviously, because I don't waste my money on something I don't want or don't like. But we'll see. Again, I'll let you guys know after the con. I'll make a update video or a haul video, I guess, of what I got. I can't really show you, but I can tell you what I got, if that helps any. I'll try to link them all in the description for pictures, I guess, so you can see what they look like. Some more professional photography of them. What else? The other two figures I was looking forward to getting were some older figures. Was Robots in the Sky, the original Robots in Disguise, Optimus Prime, and Darkstream. Those are the only two I'm missing from Robots in Disguise. I did have an Ultra Magnus when I was younger and it came out, but it was like so complicated for me. I even had my dad help me try to transform it, and it still wind up ultimately ending up in pieces, because him and Optimus Prime did combine to form Omega Prime. So ultimately he was in pieces, and the only two pieces I had left were the Omega Prime head, ironically enough, and one of the wheels. I was like, wow, out of everything I had, that's it? Oh, and I think I had the chest plate, the little Omega Prime chest plate. That was it, which is the front bumper to Ultra Magnus. And then I recently got a new one off of eBay. Not recently, within the past 2 years. I think 2 years ago I got off of eBay. And then at another type of hobby shop I have in one of my malls, they have a shop in one of the malls that, has some newer and older figures and video games and stuff, so I picked up a couple of older Transformers from there as well. Which is how I got... Did I get any? Yeah, I did get the Robots in Disguise Megatron. I never had the Robots in Disguise Megatron. I was always trying to find one on eBay. And then I went there, I was like, I found a brand new one that was mint in box. It was like... It had literally nothing wrong with it. Nothing that was too loose or anything. None of the paint was just wearing off. It didn't really have any scratches, so I was like, this is perfect. And they also had the Galvatron, but obviously I wanted the Megatron instead. Originally I did have Skybite and X-Brawn, so those weren't a problem. And Prowl I got off of TF Source. Mint condition. And Sideburn I got brand new off of eBay, like mint sealed packaging, like 20-something bucks, or like $20. I don't know why, but for most Robots in Disguise figures, even brand new, for even to the Japanese versions, are very cheap. Like, you can get a couple sets of the Autobot brothers for like $100 and have like 3 or 4 copies of each one. You know, it's crazy. I did originally have the powered up version of Sideburn, but I don't know what happened to that one. I think that wound up ending up in pieces and eventually in giving it away to people. What else? So those are really the only 2 older figures I'm intending to get. I found Slapper more recently. I found Slapper in the G1 Brainstorm at the same spot. So Slapper was the Japanese version, mint sealed box, and Brainstorm was in good conditions. The stickers, you know, could have been in better condition, but they're not bad. They're not that bad ripped up, and they're not that bad worn, color-wise either. What else? Yeah, so those are the only 2 old figures I'm looking for. I did find a Armada Megatron at that same store in the mall at a different time. It's like 30, 40 bucks. I think it was mint in box. Mint in, I don't think it was sealed. It was mint condition. It was mint condition. There was nothing wrong with it. I just didn't. I think it was just missing Leader 1, which I don't even care about. That was the only real Armada figure I was missing. I'm not trying to like complete anything, but that was the only one I wanted that I never got. I had Tidal Wave, I had Optimus, I had Blur, you know, I had everybody for the most part except for Megatron. I was like, I never had a Megatron, so let me get one. And now I got one. It's nice that I have one. Same thing with the original Robots in Disguise Megatron. Really cool. I always wanted it, never got it until, you know, 2 years ago. Most of those I got about between 2 to 3 years ago. G1, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure if I want any more G1s. I know that may sound crazy to some people, but ultimately, I don't know. I don't feel like I really need any more. I have Optimus, I have Megatron. I got the world's smallest Snarl. I have Soundwave, the reissue one, which is the Sound Blaster because it has the extended chest piece. The Insecticons, Skywarp and Thundercracker, Hot Rod, Breakdown, Dragstrip, Smokescreen, Trax, and Brainstorm. So I think that's a pretty good, you know, collection of G1 figures. It's not like I'm really missing any. I was originally thinking maybe if I found a Hound or a Jazz, I would get them, but it's like, you know what? Do I really need it? No, not really. And ultimately, what would I do with it? Nothing. So, you know, that kind of answers my own question. Let's see. But for G1, you know, I might find something decent, but ultimately I don't think I'm going to get anything G1 related. And nothing Beast Wars either. Beast Wars wasn't my thing. I only have one, well, I have technically 2 Transmetals molds, but one's an original Transmetals, the other one's an Armada repaint. Because if you guys remember in Armada for the toys, they had a couple of Beast Wars Transmetals figures that were, you know, repainted and redone for the Armada series, just as toys. And one of them was Pterosaur. So I had the Armada version of Pterosaur, and the original Transmetals. I had Transmetals. Is it Transmetals? Yeah, Transmetals. Oh boy, what's his name? Names are escaping me right now. Why is names escaping me? No Transformer character name should ever escape my mind, but apparently this one has. Tarantulas. There we go. I have Transmetals Tarantulas. I found him at that same store at a different time. Pretty much mint condition. I was like, yeah, buddy. Because like, out of all the Transmetals figures, I did like a few of them, and I was like, tarantulas, if I ever find them for a good price, in a good condition, I'll get him. And you know what? I did, and I'm very happy. I mean, he is, like, pretty much mint condition. And it's a really cool figure. You know, for being trans metals that old, they had a lot of articulation, they had a lot of ball joints, so I can't complain about that. Ultimately, goodbye. What else? What else? I don't have any other G1 figures or Beast Wars figures. I have the updated, you know, Rhinox and Skybite and Waspinator. You know, from the generations. Because I did like them, I think they were pretty cool. But other than that, like, original Beast Wars, I don't have any of. And I don't intend on getting any. Like I said, not really my thing. What else? Armada, at least, you know, like, kind of as a checklist for the con. Armada, I don't need anything else from Armada. Energon, definitely not. Cybertron, I was thinking maybe, hey, you know what? I should probably get a better Wing Saber because I have the Wing Blade version, but I don't have the Wing Saber version. And I was like, you know what? No, I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm not going to get something I don't need. So, there's that. Animated, I probably had the least amount of animated figures out of all the series I did have. And the only ones that actually stuck with me, for some unknown reason, I don't know why, what happened to the other ones. I don't remember what happened to the other ones, but I lost Lugnut, Blur, Bumblebee, Bulkhead, and the deluxe Cybertron Optimus, the Cybertronian version of Optimus Prime. Which the Optimus Prime was kind of trash anyway, but I still lost them. I was like, where the hell did they go? So the only ones that stuck with me were Prowl, Blitzwing, and both versions of Lockdown. And that was it. That's literally the only figures that stuck with me from animated. So do I intend on replacing, or, you know, replacing them, the ones that I lost? No. I don't need to. I ultimately don't need to. I also had Jazz and I lost him too. It's like, I mean, I guess I must have just gave him away by accident when not even thinking about it. That was probably what happened. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. You know, accidents happen, whatever. No big deal. I can deal with it. So, movie stuff. There was no movie stuff I missed out on that I need to get again. I'll tell you that much. Again, not a huge fan of the movie designs for the most part. There's some I like, but most of them I don't really care for too much, especially for the figures. There ain't nothing special to me. Original classics, I don't intend on getting any other ones of those. Older Masterpiece figures, nope. It's mostly just kind of newer figures, mostly third party, that I'm intending to get for the con here. it's mostly the Make Toys Cross Dimensions, Optimus and Megatron, and then the Mastermind Creations Azalea Asterisk mode, which is pretty much like a RC version of Brainstorm, or as I like to have it dubbed more as Brainstorm's sister. I really love the color scheme for that. It's Brainstorm's color scheme on RC. It actually looks really cool. Yeah, it does have a little slightly different scheme to it, but it's still basically his color scheme on her, and it looks good. It looks good, and it's a good figure too. It's probably one of the best Chug RCs. Between that and the Generations are probably the top two best ones for Chug RC. So maybe I might find one there. I might be lucky enough. Bobby said he actually sold his last year. I was like, man, you should have told me earlier. I would have bought it from you. I was like, dang nabbit, I could have got it. Oh well. What else? The Masterpiece Fans Toys Kickback. And there was another one. Oh, damn, what was the other one I wanted to get that I missed out? Oh, yeah. The Unique Toys Mania King or Chug Galvatron second version. Now, if I find the original version, I'll probably pick it up. But I like the second version better. Not just because it has LEDs in it. Or in the cannon. The LED in the cannon. It's just I like the colors better on that one. It's definitely a lot more accurate. And I don't know. I like them more. I mean, what really is there more to say about that, you know? I like it, that's all there is to it kind of thing, you know what I mean? That's gonna have to be a ceiling. But yeah, those are the only 3 third-party figures I cannot find that I need to get a hold of. And hopefully, fingers and toes and anything else that you guys can cross for me, that I can find it. If I can at least find one of the 3, I'd be happy. At least one of the 3, I would be happy. Plus the other 2 older figures. So technically, like 3 major figures, and then the 2 other Make Toys Cross Dimension ones. They're kind of like the main ones I want. And then anything else I see that I might change my mind of, then I'll get it. Because I do want to get a little bit more than just a few figures. I want to get I'm not saying like a whole dozen or a whole shopping cart full, but you know. A few. A few would be nice. I see like around 6 to 10 figures, something like that. Or maybe between 6 and a dozen. 8 and a dozen, something like that. You know what I mean? So, anyways. I think that's really about it for Transformers. There's some other topics and discussions we could go over that I might do. I'll probably save them for the TF Talk videos. But yeah, I don't think I want to ramble too much longer on the on just Transformers here. Oh, Transformers is my main love. Ironically. You guys are probably like, well, Don, what else do you like besides Transformers? Anything? Besides video games? I grew up with Transformers. That's my main love. But there was a couple other things I did grow up with that I did eventually lose interest in. But I can talk about it. I grew up with Power Rangers. Loved Power Rangers as a kid. Eventually grew out of it. It was just eventually I just thought they are way too corny. I mean, if you guys really think about the show, it was really corny. Yeah, it may have been cool, may have been entertaining or funny, but it was corny. Like they could have did a way better job. Maybe if it was more of an anime or a animated cartoon, maybe it would have actually done better. Maybe not. But I like those Zords. They were cool. If you guys are wondering, my favorite Megazord is Magiking. Is it Magiking or Magaking? I think it's Magiking. Is my favorite. I had actually two different versions of him as a toy. I don't know if I still have either of them to this day. There's the Super Robot Chigokin version. I was kind of tempted to get it. It actually looked really good. I have some Super Robot Chigokins from another anime, but I was like, this one's pretty good. I know I would not find it at a TFCon, but if I ever found one not online, it's a possibility I would probably get it. Not a super high chance, but I don't also know how much it's supposed to be going for anyway, so we'll see about that as well. What else? Yeah, the other Super Robot Chigokins I have are from another anime. Most of you guys probably won't know about this anime, but it is in between the 1990 or 1991 to 1999. There was an anime series called the Brave series, and the last one that came out in 1988 to 1999 was Galgaigar, the King of Braves, and that is my favorite out of the bunch. And they actually made Super Robot Chigokin figures of, all the protagonist robots. And I have almost all of them. The only ones I'm missing, which are kind of really hard to get, I guess because they're an exclusive, is the, what was it, Furyu and Rairu, and Mike Sounders, I think are really the only ones I'm missing. I have the regular Galgaigar, I have the Genesig Galgaigar, I have the Solar Chigokin Galgaigar, which is low-key probably the best figure in my entire collection besides Brainstorm. I have Hyoryu and Enryu and their Choryujin combined form. I have Volfog and Big Volfog, which is his combined form. So, I'm a big Galgaigar fan. I love Transformers. Most of my favorite animes are kind of mech anyway. Technically only really, 3 of them are mech animes. The rest of them are kind of just normal. And technically speaking, not to get anybody butthurt about opinions, but technically Transformers is an anime because it aired in Japan first and it was originally created in Japan, so technically it is an anime. I think all series of Transformers, kind of besides the movies, but every other version of Transformers, G1, Beast Wars, etc., have all been aired, I think, in Japan before their English dub release. So technically, it is, I do believe, supposed to be an anime. But regarding Transformers, Galgaigar is my favorite mech anime. I do like Gundams. They're not bad. I can't really get myself into watching any of them. I started watching Gundam Wing, but I eventually lost interest. I don't know why. It's just, I don't think it has, I don't know, maybe it just doesn't have enough action for me. I don't know what the deal is. I just can't get into the anime for Gundam. But I have quite a few Gundam model kits. I have, I think, about to over 2 dozen now. I love building them. My favorite one is definitely Exia Dark Matter. It's my favorite Gundam suit ever. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. It is amazing looking. Obviously, if I had to choose between the high grade and the master grade, obviously the master grade is way better. I actually have 2 of them, believe it or not. The one actually was a surprise gift. My grandparents actually went out to the Barnes & Nobles and got it for me. Most of them I actually got from Barnes & Nobles. You guys don't know, it's a bookstore. That also has manga and comic books and graphic novels and all that kind of good stuff. Not every Barnes & Nobles has Gundam model kits, but most of the ones around me do. And that's where I've got most of them at. My first one, believe it or not, was actually the Real Grade Strike Freedom. It's my first Gundam model kit, and I did a really good job my first time around. The only thing that confused the hell out of me was the how the head assembly went. I couldn't figure out how to build the head right. It wasn't showing it correctly in the instructions, or it's pretty vague, I should say. I really want to actually would like to get the master grade Strike Freedom, but hey, that's okay. It's okay if I don't. But that is my first one. The last model, the Gundam model kit I built, I do believe was. I'm trying to think. I want to say it was the real grade Wing Gundam. I think, yeah, real grade Wing Gundam. One of the most recent ones that came out, for at least from Barnes and Nobles. The ones I've been checking lately, they haven't had any good Gundams lately. It's mostly been more kind of other type of model kits and these really cheesy looking Gundams that I don't even think are a specific grade. I think they're just like some random type of suits. I don't know. I think they say high grade or master grade, but I don't really believe that for a second. They just look very cheesy. If I were to recommend, starting out Gundam model kit building for any of you guys, just what to start out with, try the high grades. Then move on to the real grade is pretty much just a small master grade. That's how many parts it has. Some of you guys may be thinking, well, Dom, it's, all the writing's in Japanese. Well, guess what? You don't actually need to read it. I know this may sound crazy, but you don't need to read it. I have built all 24 of my the Gundam model kits, without reading one word from the instructions. It's literally looking at the pictures. It can't be any easier. So, but yeah, start out with the high grades, and you're probably going to want to switch over to the master grade because it's bigger pieces. So I'd only recommend real grades if you're very savvy with master grades, because it's the same amount of parts. It's just the master grade's easier because it's bigger pieces and it's a lot harder to lose the pieces or misplace them. So, but yeah, other geeky fandoms, DC, Marvel. I'm not really a huge DC or Marvel fan, but I guess, to be fair, a favorite DC character is Batman. And my favorite Marvel character is a mix between Deadpool and Iron Man. I don't really know which one I like more. I like Deathstroke too. I guess if I was to say good guy and bad guy, but Deadpool's really a good guy. Yes, Marvel bad guy? Who would be my Marvel bad guy? I don't know, I can't really think right now. Maybe the Goblin? I don't know. I'm trying to think, I have a lot of the Lego games. I have the Marvel one. Trying to think. I don't know, maybe the Goblin? But yeah, Batman, favorite Marvel, and between Deadpool and Iron Man. I love Iron Man's suit, but I love Deadpool's funny nature and how he loves to break the fourth wall. So, I don't know, it's kind of a mix between those two. TMNT, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I grew up with them, loved them, kind of grew out of them. They're nothing really special, but some people still collect some of the figures and stuff. I still do like them, I just don't do anything with the figures. Like watching the new movies, but not getting any of the figures. Any other things that deal with figures? Like I said, Marvel and DC figures, I don't really have any. I have some pretty cool video game figures. Really, they're the only thing that's not Transformers, anime, or Gundam related. You can kind of put anime and Gundam in the same category anyway, but the top 3 coolest video game figures I have. And they are all posable. Could be a bit more posable, but they're really cool. 2 of them are from BioShock, and the Isaac Clarke Dead Space, or from Dead Space 2. His helmet and his backpack lights up. Very super high detail. A lot of paint. Same thing with 2 BioShock figures. I have the BioShock 1 Bouncer and the BioShock 2 Big Sister. And they are both super heavily detailed. Now, the Big Sister doesn't have anything really special to it. It's just more of the detail and the sculpt that's really cool. But on what's better on top of the Bouncer is the fact that it has a 3-way LED switch that can switch between all 3 of its emotions, I guess, if you want to call it. It's got green, yellow, and red LEDs for its eyes. Yellow for when it's roaming, green for when it's on your side, and red for when it's enraged and about to kill you. So, there's that. And that is my favorite video game figure I have, and favorite non-Transformer / anime figure that I have. And it was only like, what, $30 for the figure? And it's several years old, and it's amazing. So that kind of also goes to show you, just because a figure is old, it doesn't mean it's worse than a newer figure. Some older figures are better than the newer ones. That's one thing I gotta say. Like Fans Project Brainstorm, it's over 3.5 years old, and it's better than quite a few third-party figures I've seen lately. And I also have the BioShock replica Eve Hypo that lights up, so that was really cool. That was actually, fun fact, it was my first M-rated game I ever played. I watched my dad play it at first, and he loved it, and then I started playing, and I didn't stop playing until a long time after. I have all 3 BioShocks, and I do have the remastered one for PS4. The whole collection. I will admit, Infinite's not as great as the other 2, but BioShock 2 is my favorite. It's the most fun, and do a little bit more stuff in that one than you could in the first one. Anyway, anything else? I'm trying to think. Transformers, Marvel, DC, video games, Power Rangers, Turtles. Yeah, Super Robot Chogokin, Solar Chogokin are really the only 2 other types of figures I have. Oh, and Revoltech. I do have some Revoltech figures. I have 4 or 5. I think I have 5. I have 5 Revoltech figures. 1 is an official Transformers Revoltech, which is the G1 Starscream. My favorite out of the Revoltechs. I was intending to get the Megatron, but I just can't find it. What was it? I have I would say third party, Groover, or Grover, whatever it's supposed to be. It's a Trax. It's literally a company that pretty much uses the same materials as Revoltech, but it's not officially licensed from Transformers or anything, or Revoltech, but it's a Revoltech Trax. I love Trax. He's one of my top 3 favorite Autobots. I think it's Brainstorm, Trax, then Jazz. Yeah, so he's technically my second favorite. Anyway. I have Dark of the Moon, Revoltech, Optimus Prime with the jetpack. I have the Revoltech Get or Go, which is from another mecha anime series, Getter Robo Go. That one, the one I have is Get or Go. It's the green and blue robot with the red jetpack. I saw Evangelist's video of it, and I was like, man, I gotta have that figure. And a little while after I watched the video, I think it was like a year or 2 after I watched the video, I finally found one and got a hold of it on Amazon. And I was yeah, I finally got it. So cool. It's definitely cool. It's one of the coolest Re- Rebel Tech figures. It's just the accessories and what you can do with them are pretty cool. And last but not least, I have the two Gurren Lagann Rebel Tech figures. If you are an anime slash Transformers fan and you haven't seen Gurren Lagann, there's something seriously wrong with you. Let's be honest. If you haven't seen it or don't like it, there's something wrong with you. But yeah, I have the regular Gurren Lagann and the Arc Gurren Lagann. I actually wanted to get the Super Galaxy, but I was like, you know what? I don't ultimately need it. But as long as I have these two versions, I'm fine. That's showing enough love for my Gurren Lagann fandom anyway. And the regular one came with the little plastic drill necklace, so that was pretty cool. I have that hanging up on my glass cabinet. Doorknob. I say doorknob in parentheses because it's a key. It's the key. You just key unlock it. I keep the key in there because it acts as a door handle. What else? Yeah, all the Super Robot Shogoken stuff is from Gal Gagar except for one figure, which is another Brave figure. It is J-Decker. It is the... Ooh, is it the second to last? Yeah, it came right before Gal Gagar. It's from the Brave Police series. And, yeah, that was J-Decker. It's his combined form. There wasn't any other figures from that series that were in Super Robot Shogoken or Soul Shogoken form, so I just decided to get that. Unfortunately, mine has a kind of critical problem with it, that the joint that the right hip plate is on was so tight it kind of got fused into the hole, and I tried to rotate it, outward so his hip can move out, and it just wind up kind of twisting and kind of almost breaking off. And I think it did break off, and I had to glue it back on. The other thing I have to say is, if you guys intend on getting the Super Robot Shogoken Big Volfog, word to the wise, that is the only Super Robot Shogoken figure that or any other real figure that I've gotten, that I had to go through 3 of them to get one that had joints strong enough that they didn't break. Unfortunately, the Big Volfog figure in the shoulders has a double ball joint. It's this pin that goes through the 2 connectors, and it's, you got your 2 stems with the ball joints, and the middle piece that they're on, swivels up and down. So, the ball joints can go up and down, because it's a ball joint at the shoulder, and then it's a ball joint at the shoulder pauldron. The actual stems that the ball joints are on are too damn thin to take really any type of force. So you start to rotate the arm in any way, shape, or form, it's pretty much just going to snap right off. And you literally don't even have to put any pressure on it, really. I mean, you just try to lightly, gently move the arm, and it's like, boop, it came right off. And that's what happened with the first 2. It was on the right side. The right side was a little bit more prone to break than the left side, just because of how the stem was positioned. Because they use the same joints for both sides. It's just, obviously, you're seeing a different side on the right side and left side. So you're seeing the front side on the right arm and the back side on the left arm, since it's the same joint. And the way that you would move it, the right side would be more prone to breaking than the left side would. So I literally had all 3 of them and their boxes laid up on my bed, and I was literally going through each one, sifting through all the different pieces to make my own Volfog figure. I had 3 of them, and I got parts from all 3 of them. I don't remember exactly what I used. I think I probably used the second one's torso, the third one's arms, maybe the second one's legs. I think that because the torso and legs you can really take apart. And then the accessories, I kind of just mix and match the accessories. I seen which one was the cleanest. And what was funny is, I don't know if this is a thing on all of them, but the what is it, the 4000 Magnum effect pieces on all three sets were three different colors. There was a dark, a medium, and a light orange for all three sets. Like the first, second, and third had light, medium, and dark. Like set 1 had light, set 2 had medium, set 3 had dark, you know, like that kind of thing. And I think I went with the light ones. So, that was pretty crazy. The fact that I had to go through 3 of them to actually, you know, get the figure I needed. I contacted Amazon. I was like, okay, the joint broke again, so they sent a third one. And finally, the third one, I was like, hey, the third one is good. You know, I've mixed matched parts between them. They were like, okay, you know, I'm sorry about the problem. And it's not their fault. It's just that Super Robot Chigokin themselves didn't do a great job on that stem. If the stem was a bit thicker, I think it was probably maybe a quarter to a third thicker at least, it would have probably not snapped. It could have maybe showed a little bit of stress, but it probably wouldn't have broke. That's why I put them in the pose, and I haven't taken them out of the pose since. I picked them up, but I haven't moved anything on them. One thing to also know about the Super Robot Chigokin Genesis Galgaiar, very painful to hold. He has a lot of spikes. Even the treads are spiky. The treads are spiky, the knee spikes are spiky, the feet are spiky, the wing pack is kind of spiky, the actual torso has some spikes around the you know, some spiky pieces coming off of the armor. So it's pretty painful, and it's very heavy. It's probably the smallest, heaviest figure I have. Maybe besides the Insecticons. It may actually be even heavier than the Insecticons. And the Solar Chigokin Galgaiar is very heavy, but man, is it worth every penny. It's $270 worth of pure epicness. So, if you guys don't have it, you need it. If you're a Galgaiar fan, that is. Even if not, you're still missing out on a great figure, because, man, it is super anime accurate, and all the pieces transform to their individual alt modes, and it's flawless transformation and flawless combination. Exactly how you see them transform and combine in the show is exactly how the figure is. That's how good they nailed it. Like, they straight up nailed it. And worth every single dollar. In my opinion, at least. But yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. I think this video's gone on long enough for most of the stuff. Again, the other stuff we'll talk about in, like, other videos, other discussions. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. So let me know what you guys think, and what your favorite figures are, and whatnot. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for the lack of the Ragnarok video. I was intending to have that out a long time ago, but unfortunately, PlayStation and Xbox keeps getting Ragnarok delayed, so we'll just have to keep waiting until it comes out. Hopefully at the end of the month, it will be out. I can only hope. But I'm definitely excited to do the final base location video for that series and be done with it. It's been postponed for too long, and I haven't, you know, gotten out what I promised you guys. Obviously, it's not my fault, but, you know, if I don't have it, I can't show it, so. And plus, I'm not going to do the video as soon as the day it comes out, because I got to explore myself so I can get myself ready for the video, because I don't know every single spot. Plus, they're adding another spot with the update. We're only missing the bottom right kind of half of the map now. So, but I'm very excited for it. Hopefully you guys are, at least you guys that are on console, like me, are excited for Ragnarok as well. I can't wait to make the video for you guys so you guys can find out some really good base locations for whatever type of server or settings you're playing on, and that's pretty much about it. What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm trying to think. Is that it? I think that's about it. Trying to focus on these last few snap points here. Ooh, ooh, almost had it. There we go. Okay, so yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed, as always. Stay cool, stay tuned, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.